I open the door and find Master Cross dressed in a thick wool cassock, but looking rather blue-lipped from the cold. I take his spoon, fish out an ember from our fire, and send him on his way. He doesn't even thank me. Okay, now we're at the top of page 109. I think they freeze if they didn't have us around, I say. And stop, Richard says. Next comes Master Hallgrave, and then Master Frisch, and then Nathaniel, who has become a soldier. Keep your finger on these so I know you're with us. Who has become a soldier, asking for an ember for the soldier's cabin. Look how disciplined our soldiers are, Richard says, after Nathaniel leaves. Richard puts an ember into a pan to take to Reverend Hunt in case his fire too has gone out. I go to see if anyone has bothered to start a hominy in the big communal cook pot. Hominy is another word for like the big thing of oatmeal. You know, scoot it for me, please. I hear one of the guards call out, "It is the shallop returned! Hello, explorers! Have you found a passage to India?" Now, remember how crazy that is, right? A passage to India? Do you think they're really going to find a passage to India?
Not really.
Let us remind ourselves, looking at a map. Where are they right now, boys and girls? In Virginia. In the what bay? Very good, the Chesapeake Bay. So we're right in here. Okay? Chad, can you go back to your class, please?
Well, I left a little piece of paper in my things.
Okay.
I just had to get this. It was my desk.
So we've got Chesapeake Bay right here. Right? And do you see where India is? I can see you're looking at it. Right? All the way over here.
Yep.
Is there a chance they're going to find India on the shelf in the river, the Chesapeake Bay?
That was very quick. And like,
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay. So where am I? The top of page.
No, you're right.
In the middle.
You're in the middle.
I'm at the bottom.
I rush.
Captain Smith must be back. I rush to the fort gates. 6 men come trailing in. They are tired, dragging their muskets as they walk. There is not a smile among them, and Captain Smith is not with them. They come to the communal cook fire to warm themselves. There Abram is stirring the pot of hominy, a porridge we make from coarse ground corn. The rest of us gather round. We listen, and they give their report. The river became too narrow to explore with the shallop. Captain Smith went off with the 2 men, Jehu Robinson and Thomas Emery, to find an Indian guide and a canoe. He did not return. Indians captured one of their men, George Casson, and they lassoed him. He was tied to a stake with a fire being built around him. Well, just because they're going to cook them doesn't mean they're going to eat them.
They're going to burn him alive.
They're going to burn him at the stake. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Burning at the stake. They were glad to escape with their lives. I listened, my heart sinking lower and lower. Has Captain Smith been captured by the Indians as well? Has he, too, been killed? Now, boys and girls, being burned at the stake is a pretty violent way to die, right?
Yeah.
Why would this author decide to put that in her book?
Is this the most deadliest way to die?
Okay. This is what actually happened. Thank you, Liam. This is part of our history, right? And it's historical. Leaving it out would kind of, unjustly portray American history. So that's why these facts are put in here. And that's why this book is more for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders. But it's such a great historical portrait that it's important that we keep what really happened in these novels. Okay. They were glad to escape with their lives. I listened, my heart sinking lower. Has Captain Smith... Okay. Abram scoops the hominy into the mess pots. But I don't want to eat. I leave the fort and I go down to the riverbank. There was a hoar frost last night, and all the bare branches are coated white and sparkling. What in the world? A hoar frost? What is that? Snow?
Sleet.
Sleet? What else did it say? It said it leaves and all the bare branches are coated white and sparkling.
Covering everything.
The moon glow makes the snow shiny.
Okay, maybe from the moon glow, but maybe like a foggy frost. The fog left like a residue, and then the freezing temperatures froze all that residue.
Dew?
It's like a dewy, deep, cold frost. Now, do I know for sure that's right or wrong?
No.
I'm not positive, but if I go back and look at the rest of the sentence, and the bare branches are coated white and sparkling, well, we know rain isn't white, right? What was left all over our city last week? Snow. What makes the snow? What makes the precipitation white? The sun makes it white. The cold weather. Thank you. The cold weather makes it white. Yeah. What will happen to me now? Did I skip a sentence? I walk along the river a little way, and then I sit down on a jumble of tree roots and look out across the water. Do you guys see where I am? In the middle of page 110. What will happen to me now? If you don't know where we are, raise your hand. I'll come around to help you. I have seen how Henry and Abram have been treated since Master Wingfield was put under arrest. It is as if they are suddenly declared every gentleman's servant, always washing this one's stockings, fetching this one's firewood. President Ratcliffe sometimes puts them on double watch shifts so that they get no rest, and they go around red-eyed and bad-tempered. But being overworked would not be the worst of it. No, the worst would be losing someone that I have grown to trust and care for. Who is he referring to?
Captain Smith.
I pick up a small stone and I throw it side-armed, making it skip across the water. 5 skips. Richard and I should have a contest. I'm suddenly very grateful that Richard is now my ally, not my enemy. So what does ally mean?
Friend.
Beautiful, buddy or friend. Yeah, so he's now my friend. He's not my enemy. Reverend Hunt, too. I am thankful that he is still with us. Without the two of them, I would have no one to care whether I live or die. In London, it was easy to survive on my own, rummaging in the garbage for my meals. Here it is better to have a few people to stick up for you and make sure you get your food rations. More legs to stand on, Captain Smith would say. I hear crunching footsteps in the frozen dead leaves covering the ground. It is Richard. He is carrying my bowl and spoon. He hands me the steaming bowl of hominy and sits next to me. So just like he was saying, it's nice to have someone to look out for me. You know, to have a friend bring you your meal when you're just too sad to go get it or too worried. Thank you, I say. I'm very hungry now. It would have been miserable to go all day without breakfast. He nods. He wraps his arm around his knees and he rests his chin on them. Maybe he will still come back, he says. Maybe. When my bowl is empty, I pick up a flat stone. How many skips can you do? I ask. Richard grins. More than you, that's for sure. And we gather the stones, and the contest is on. Cool, friendly thing to do, right? The letter comes just before Christmas. 3 Indian messengers bring it to the fort gates, and I rejoice to see that it is Captain Smith's handwriting. I am well, the letter says. Fire the cannons and a few rounds from your muskets to scare these fellows, and then give them a handful of beads, a pound of copper, and 5 hatchets, which I have promised to give the Pumpkins. So why would he say fire the cannon in your muskets?
To scare them.
To make them realize who's still in charge, kind of. Like they still have weapons. We're still a threat to you. Right? Don't come and attack us. We still can defend ourselves. He's like communicating, without words. I run to tell Reverend Hunt and Richard. He is with the Pumpkins, I exclaim. They are one of the friendly tribes. I see he still has his paper and quill with him, says Reverend Hunt. He must be still writing our story, I say, beaming. Just after New Year, 1608, Richard goes out before me to start the cook-pot of hominy for our communal breakfast. He comes back not 5 minutes later. his face white as linen. What does that tell us about someone whose face goes white as linen? Yeah, they're pale, but what makes someone that pale? Sick. What else makes them that pale? Yes, summer. Awesome. Oh, Sophie, awesome. Scared. Like this morning when that math fell over in the gym.
It was a perfect word.
Yeah, it was a perfect word. It fell right behind me.
I jumped. I was like,
Yeah, that was scary. So I imagine the color from our faces flushed. He comes back now 5 minutes later, his face white as linen. It's gone, he whispers. The corn, all of it. What do you mean it's gone? Yesterday there was plenty, enough for 2 weeks at least. Richard shakes his head. I looked for the barrel of smoked meat too, and the baskets of dried oysters. Gone! I feel the blood drain from my face. Are natives now stealing our food instead of bringing it to us? Or have the raccoons and foxes gotten into our stores? But we had men on guard all night. I run out to the cabin to see for myself. Richard is right. Our food is gone. And then I notice something else. The fort is eerily quiet. There is hardly anyone around. The only activity is 2 laborers chopping wood and a soldier sitting outside his cabin cleaning his musket. The sun is already up, and the gentlemen should have been grumbling for their breakfast. The day is quite cold, with pale winter sun, and yet not a single gentleman has come to our cabin for an ember. Where are they? I demand, fear growing in the pit of my stomach. Who? Richard asks. The gentlemen.
Oh, jeez.